In today's video, we are going to dive deep into the tunnels of the Moscow Metro, fight our way through hordes of mutants, avoid mysterious anomalies, and then try to solve the mystery of the Dark Ones, all while unlocking all of the achievements in. The year is 2033, 20 years after a great nuclear war has decimated the planet's population, and in Moscow, an entire generation of people have been born and raised in the metro tunnels below the city. We start the game playing as Artyom heading towards the surface with a man who goes by the name of Miller on some kind of mission, and we end up walking out of the tunnels into the open air where we're immediately attacked by mutated monsters known as Watchers, basically like mutated dogs. Not to be confused with the Nautilus you'll see later in the game who roam the tunnels of the metro that are basically like mutated rats or moles. Anyways, we quickly deal with them and head outside and walk towards a large tower in the distance that's our destination, and end up almost getting squished flat by your average Russian driver, who turns out to be one of our friends. But before I give him a piece of my mind, we end up getting surrounded by a massive pack of Watchers who end up attacking us, where we're able to hold out for a short time before the entire cast of the fucking Gargoyles crew shows up and decides to crash the party, where the screen goes black and we have to travel back 8 days prior to where Artyom's journey began. You see, when we get back into the game, we're just chilling in our bed, staring at some postcards of famous landmarks, kind of daydreaming about what the surface might have been like back in the old days, till our Uncle Alex comes and asks us to come with him, saying something about his friend Hunter that's going to show up to the station, and that he might have some news of the outside world. So I end up getting up, leaving my room to follow Alex, where I get to see for the first time what the life of the metro really looks like. It's fucking dark, it's dirty, most people live in rooms the size of a jail cell, and along the way we hear hushed conversations about a recent attack by something or someone known as the Dark Ones that has left the hospital full of injured soldiers. Our path to the front gate actually ends up leading through the hospital, where we're going to see the reality of the situation for ourselves, seeing a whole bunch of dead or dying soldiers, some more obviously mentally broken than others, before we finally reach the front gate where we get to meet Alex's friend Hunter. Now, Hunter's a ranger, a member of an elite fighting unit of the Spartan Order who's taken upon themselves to help the metro stations when they are in need. And Hunter sits down with Alex and I, speaking of the rumors of the undead roaming the tunnels outside of Exhibition, our home station. And Alex tells him about the Dark Ones and how they're different and far more dangerous than the normal mutants that most people of the Metro are all too familiar with. But our little chat gets interrupted and the station's attacked, where I'm forced to arm myself with a revolver and help Alex and Hunter fend off a wave of Nosalises invading through this tunnel's ventilation systems. And with the help of Alex and Hunter, I'm able to get through this encounter with no problem. Honestly, I even managed to get through the entire encounter without taking any damage, which unlocked an achievement. And then Hunter tells us that he's impressed with our shooting skills, and Alex kind of goes on a rant about where these Nosalises weren't just attracted to the smell of blood or something, but it's much more likely that they are running away from the Dark Ones themselves. So he tacks on something else about the Dark Ones being Homo novus, like the next steps in human evolution or something, before another man bursts into the room shouting the station's outpost has actually been hit by the Dark Ones themselves. So we rush to the scene only to find it filled with the dead and dying members of our station, before Hunter decides that he needs to go and assess the situation himself, and then gives us a task that will change our future entirely. He hands us his dog tags, telling us that if he doesn't return by morning, that we should take it to Pole Station, essentially the capital of the metro, and give it to another ranger there named Miller, and tell him what's happened here with the Dark Ones. And surprise, surprise, he doesn't return, so the next morning we sign up to be a caravan guard, which is headed to a nearby station known as Riga to deliver supplies in accordance with the terms of a newly formed alliance between their station and ours. So I head topside, get geared up at the armory, and head out on the caravan towards Riga, where unfortunately, on the way through the tunnels, we end up getting attacked, and the entire crew suffers from a psychic attack by the Dark Ones, knocking everyone out except for me, and instead I get to have some kind of vision where I see the Dark Ones power slapping Hunter, before it starts to walk away and 4 shots ring out, killing the Dark One and ending the vision. And coming out of our psychosis, the tram we are on gets attacked by a swarm of Nosalis, and one of our crew gets ripped out of his seat, and we have to fight the rest of the way to Riga Station, narrowly surviving the encounter. And just being happy to survive, me and the boys head to the pub nearby, grab a glass of mushroom vodka, and celebrate our escape before I have a run-in with a man named Bourbon, who offers to help us reach Polis and give us his AK-47 in return for providing him with backup on the journey. And with the station being on lockdown since we got here, we agree and exit the station through some tunnels below it to continue our journey. Down in the tunnels with Bourbon, I end up putting on my mask in this more radiated area along the tracks where I realize I can clean my mask by pressing the left bumper and unlock another achievement. Oh, there's an achievement. Who goes there? Wipe the gas mask 20 times, okay. And then continue on to the next station known as the market, where we sit down and have another glass of mushroom vodka while waiting for Bourbon to settle some old debts he has apparently, before heading out to the surface into the dead city. And on the surface, we get to see some more of the Gargoyle crew again, but this time we can learn that the people of the Metro call them demons, and I decide it's best to try to avoid them as much as possible by dodging from building to building. And inside the first building I went in, I found this heavily radiated area where I could find a safe key, and decided to stand there for a little while, popping med kits to unlock this achievement as well. Alright, we got the achievement. Get out! The Manhattan Project, so spent 60 seconds in radiation hotspot. After that, though, I decided to head back outside and went around the building where I ended up having a vision in this abandoned playground with a dark one who just sat there and watched me the entire time. And I'm honestly not sure if this is supposed to be a vision of the past or the future. But eventually the vision ends and I head back to reality where I get fucking lost for like 40 minutes because I couldn't figure out where I needed to go to meet back up with Bourbon. However, it turns out getting lost was actually a good thing because I ended up searching like every nook and cranny of the city, finding all these different weapon stashes and stuff, including this one that I found right after I finally caught up with Bourbon again for a surprise. Oh, hello. Rare achievement 1.3. Found all the ranger stashes in Dead City. Let's fucking go. I guess it paid off getting lost and having to search everywhere in this fucking map. And just around the corner from that last stash, me and Bourbon end up having to fight off a horde of watchmen, where we managed to kill all of them, but nothing would happen afterwards. Like, I killed all of them, I wandered around all the area right there, I couldn't get the game to keep going, so I figured it was just glitched and reloaded my checkpoint and did it again, but still nothing happened. So I finally closed out the entire game finally and reloaded at the checkpoint and killed all the watchmen again, where I ended up unlocking 2 more achievements. Ooh, look at that achievement, Watchman Hunter. So 50 watchmen. Oh, another achievement, Cowboy. 100 enemies using revolvers. Okay. Before finally some demons joined the fight that left me and Bourbon running for our lives and diving back into the Metro. And just a quick note about the achievements in this game, guys. It turns out that a lot of the achievements in the game are cumulative, especially like the weapon ones. So you can literally just rerun certain levels to get all of your achievements unlocked, with the exceptions of like the ones for the different endings or completing the game on either Spartan or survival mode. And for this first playthrough, I just played on Spartan mode because it just gives me more ammo and resources as I learn the game. So when I go through the second playthrough, I'll be doing so on survival mode. Anyways, back in the Metro, we have to try to get through Dry Station that's filled with bandits, and as we try to sneak in the station, Bourbon ends up getting caught. And I'm stuck with the responsibility of having to try to save his ass. Now, trying to get through Dry Station, I try to take the stealthy approach to save him, but about halfway through the station, I finally ended up getting spotted, so rather than fight all of them, I decided I wanted to try to save my supplies and sprinted for the end of the level where Bourbon was being held. And as I burst through the door and lock it behind me, I find that Bourbon's being held hostage by one of the leaders of the bandits, and he tries to use our entrance as a distraction to wrestle the weapon away from the guard, where they just end up killing each other. Which had me concerned for about half a second, but then shortly after that, this guy comes crawling out of the vents like a fucking spider monkey and introduces himself as Khan and suggests that we get out of here before the other bandits break into the room. And he makes a rather valid point, so we decide to follow him, and Khan decides to guide us through some haunted tunnels, which I'm not honestly sure if they're actually haunted or if it's the dark ones giving us more visions or something at this point, where he tells us about singing pipes and chants some kind of prayer as we walk through a group of ghosts that can kill you with a single touch. But later, Khan reveals that he was actually a member of that original group and is the sole survivor of the attack, and tells us not to mention anything that we've seen in here or heard, as he would like to keep it a secret. And now, even though he doesn't outright say this, I kind of get the impression that he does not necessarily think the Dark Ones or these supernatural phenomenons are as evil as some other people in the Metro make them out to be. But before I can really put any more thought into it, he also tells us that he can help us get to Polis by putting us in touch with a man named Andrew the Blacksmith at the Armory Station. But on our way to the Armory Station, we end up at Curse Station, where a bunch of monsters of the Metro have overtaken the area, and we have to help Khan and the others here defending the station stop their invasion by blowing up the entrances the monsters are using to get inside. Woo. There we go. Hey, demolitionist. Afterwards, Khan shows us the path to Armory Station and tells us to be careful because the station is under the control of the communist regime known as the Red Line before sending us on our way. And once I get into Armory Station, despite Khan's warning, I somehow bumble into a couple of Red Line members that's doing an interrogation and end up getting chased throughout the station, getting shot at till someone grabs me and pulls me into their shack, saving my life. And that person turns out to be none other than Andrew the blacksmith, who carefully listens to our story and agrees to help us out by giving us a disguise and then stashing us in the luggage rack of a rail car to sneak us out of the station. But during my short stint as a stowaway, I managed to actually fall off my perch beneath the rail car and land myself right in the middle of a fight between the Red Line and a Nazi faction known as the Fourth Reich, known for trying to build a new society for genetic purity, whatever the fuck that means. And despite the fact that there's a war going on here in the tunnels, I did manage to unlock a few achievements on this level by taking a stealthy, non-lethal approach. You see, the first achievement I unlocked was Soft Touch after disabling my 15th wire trap. What was that? Soft Touch. Disarm 15 wire traps. Oh, dang. And then another one, I saved some members of the Red Line from the Nazis.
I heard there was a ranger in the vicinity. Good work.
Hey, rescue ranger.
We'll regroup and fall back.
And then I was able to get one more by getting to the end of the level without killing anyone. But all I got for all my trouble was just to get snatched up by a couple of fucking Nazis anyways. Oh. Hello. Hey, invisible man. Oh. And also the asleep man. And a little while later, I end up waking up with a splitting headache and I get forced to listen to some stereotypical bad guy rant. You know, the ones where they take way too long to kill you because they're trying to tell you what they're going to do to you. Before some unexpected help comes from some rangers, Ullman and Pavel, that lands them 6 feet under. After my captors are taken care of, I show the two rangers Hunter's dog tag, and Ullman tells Pavel to take us to Polis and that he will meet up with us later. So I hop in the gunner seat of a rail car while Pavel drives us through the tunnel trying to disguise ourselves as Nazis to get through the barricade, and that doesn't really work out at all for us, so we're forced to shoot our way through them, and I get a small reprieve before having to try to work through another section of the tunnels that's actually an abandoned train depot. Or, well, rather, it was supposed to be abandoned according to Pavel, but as we start to roll up on the depot, I spot a light in the distance, and rather than take any chances, I pop off a few rounds at it. And by a few rounds, I mean an entire fucking magazine.
This is the start. We gotta get out of
Hey, Raider achievement. Before the highway to hell takes me into the heart of the not-so-abandoned depot, where I get killed a few times by some Nautilus, only to unlock another achievement. Hunter. I'll kill 200 mutants. Easy. And when we're finally almost in the clear, Pavel actually gets pulled from the cart and is killed, and we end up alone again on our journey through the metro. And it's not long before I stumble upon another station known as Hull Station, where I help them repel attacks on them by the mutants, where I snagged another achievement. Oh, there's an achievement. Nautilus Hunter. Alright, killed 100 Nautilus. Before some kind of anomaly hits us, causing us to black out momentarily, only to wake up to all the other defenders being dead besides their captain, who hands us a tape and asks us to broadcast his warning message to the other nearby stations for him should we be able to find a radio tower during our travels. With the tape in hand, I go inside the station only to find it infested with lurkers, where I managed to kill 20 of them. Hey, what's that? Fire in the hole? So 20 lurkers. Okay. So I head out the back of the station, where I stumble upon a boy whose uncle was killed by the monsters, so I carry him on my back to help reunite him with his mother, while fighting some more lurkers and unlocking another achievement. Running short on shotgun ammo. What was that? 15 gunmen. The 100 enemies with shotguns. Okay. Eventually, though, I'm able to return him to his mother and speak with some of the men that are with her that inform me that if I want to get to Polis, I'm going to have to head through Black Station. Unfortunately, though, the tunnel down here heads in the opposite direction, so I'm going to have to make my way there across the surface. And if that wasn't bad enough news as it is, he also informs me that the Fourth Reich has emerged from their tunnels and is blocking the way to Black Station, so this should be fun. And it kind of was, I won't lie, because this time I decided I wasn't going to hold back at all, and I blasted my way through all the fucking Nazis till I ended up finding a radio tower where I was able to play the tape I got from the captain back in Hull Station, and sneak up on a demon who was enjoying a midnight snack and give him a taste of his own medicine. Not very long that time, did you? Nerd. That's an achievement. Inquisitor? Killed 2 demons. Oh, I didn't expect that achievement, but that'll do. Oh, what's that achievement? DJ Artyom. Oh, ready to harm back across the message. Of course, though, by doing so, I pretty much alerted every Nazi in the area that I was there, so I ended up getting in an all-out firefight with the remaining Nazis on the surface where I got the warrior achievement for killing 100 human enemies before finding myself in a really tight spot and where I almost died. Eep, eep. Oh shit, I just got another achievement. What do I get achievement for now? Tonic Man? I'm gonna get... What, I just got another achievement? What is this? Sniper? 30 enemies with headshot. Human enemies with headshots? Okay, well... Before finding my way into Black Station where I can meet up with Ullman, who gives us a suppressed rifle after letting us know that Black Station is filled with even more Nazis. But this time, since I just had that massive firefight up on the surface, my resources were running a little low, so I snuck and ran my way through the station, avoiding killing or even knocking out on any of the enemies to finally meet back up with Ullman. What's this? There it is. Merciful achievement. Leave Black Station without killing or knocking anybody out. Who tells us that our journey's almost at an end, to hop in the cart and let's head to Polis Station finally. On the ride to Polis, though, I try to get a little bit of rest, only to have another bad dream forced upon me by the Dark Ones, and this time, I wake up in a weird hallway of sorts and hear the Dark Ones talking to us, saying something about how they want to help and understand us the same way that a parent would their child, right? But then suddenly a wall breaks open in front of me and a Dark One's standing right there, and I just noped the hell out and ran the opposite direction and ended the vision. And as I wake up, I realize that we're just pulling into Polis Station. At the front desk, we're told to wait a minute while Ullman goes and talks to someone in the back, and since this is the last place you can purchase any kind of weapons or supplies from vendors in the game, I decide to use this time in the checkpoint system to my advantage to unlock a few more achievements. So I went to the weapon trader where I spent my money removing and reattaching my weapon mods a bunch of times to unlock the Metro Trader achievement for making 30 deals in the weapon shop. Then reloaded the checkpoint, went back to the ammo vendor and sold and bought and then resold all my ammo till I spent over 500 military rounds at the kiosk for the Wheeler Dealer achievement. And then reloaded my checkpoint one more time so I'd have all my ammo back and waited until Ullman returned with the leader of the Rangers and the man Hunter sent us to find himself, Miller. We follow Miller into the station, give him Hunter's dog tag, and inform him what has happened to Hunter and what's going on in the northern tunnels. So he decides to call an emergency meeting of the station's council members where I'll have to tell them everything that's transpired in hopes that they will give us some kind of support to help save our home station from the Dark Ones. But I decide before the meeting that I need to go to find something to help calm my nerves, so I go to the nearby bar and grab a glass of mushroom vodka. There it is, toast achievement. Drink at every occasion. Before heading into the council chamber and telling them our story. Now this meeting lasts for hours, but afterwards we meet up with Miller to figure out what the decision was, where Miller tells us they decided not to help us out because 1, they don't really have the resources to offer, and 2, they don't really want to trust us because they don't know who we are. And not surprising, honestly, considering the state of the world, but anyways. But Miller's pissed that they denied our request for help, so much in fact that Miller decides that he and the Rangers are going to help us stop the threat of the Dark Ones, and he shares with us that he even has a plan together on how we're going to do it before telling us about a facility called D6. Now D6 is a secret bunker, or command center rather, used to house missiles and other conventional weapons back in the days during the Great War, and that his plan is to reach D6 and use it to launch some missiles at the Dark Ones and blow them all back to hell. Unfortunately, though, he does not currently know the actual location of D6, but he does know that we can find some documents that could lead us there in the Moscow State Library that actually houses a military archive containing said documents. So we meet up with him at the State Library where another ranger who came with us, Danilo, gets fucked up by a demon, and Miller has to stay behind to save him, so he sends us on by ourselves to go find the documents. But in the next section of the library, I get to meet what they call a librarian for the first time. Essentially a giant mutated ape that are semi-intelligent and can kill you in only a couple of swipes. At least that's what Miller tells me, but I decided to check it out for myself. Okay, no, I don't want it. Oh my god, that was nice. Don't shoot out of my ass. But there's definitely more than just one librarian here, so when my next encounter came up with them, I realized that Miller also told me that if I hold my ground and be still, they will also likely back down and walk away. So of course I had to try this for myself, right? And honestly, I kind of felt like that one dude in Jurassic Park who's just staring at the fucking T-Rex in the face, trying to pretend like he doesn't exist. And surprisingly enough, it actually worked. So I take this chance and I dive deeper under the library, where I finally reach a room filled with safety deposit boxes, where I rummage through them one at a time till I finally find what we're looking for, the documents that will get us into D6. And with them in hand, I make my way back to the surface, where Miller and Oma go full Twisted Metal on a librarian before giving me a ride back to the Rangers Sparta base to plan our mission. And at the base, we end up running into our friend Khan again, who warns us about the path we're on in reference to how we're dealing with the Dark Ones, as violence only begets more violence, before he takes off and we go meet back up with Miller and the boys to get on a cart and head down to D6. On the ride down to D6, I end up collapsing in another fit and have another vision of the Dark Ones again, but this time they're sending some kind of message of peace, oddly enough. But I'm still not really sure as to why or what the hell's going on with them. But before I can figure it out, the boys wake me up with some smelling salts and toss a flamethrower in my hand and tell me to defend the cart. Whoa, let's go. And my first thought at this point, honestly, was like, I got a fucking flamethrower. I can do this shit in my sleep, right? Well, it turns out I'm wrong. And I ended up dying a couple times here trying to get past this bit. However, like the other times you may have noticed, dying a couple times works out in my favor, because I managed to unlock the Pyro achievement for killing 30 enemies with the flamethrower, and then the Fire achievement for killing 30 enemies with flame grenades before an anomaly starts coming down the tunnel towards us, frying all the Nautilus in its path. Luckily though, the boys get the cart moving again and the anomaly decides not to pursue, so we head into the tunnels, getting closer to D6. And the tunnels heading up to D6 is really just more of the same here, killing waves of monsters as spiders along the way, where I unlock 2 more achievements: Spider Hunter for killing 10 spiders, and Shocking for getting 30 kills with the Hell Breath shotgun. And after getting through some locked doors and a couple waves of monsters, the gang and I end up finding a fully functional railcar system that runs directly into the D6 compound. And it finally feels like things are going our way, so we hop on and head into the compound, where I help Miller restore partial power to the command center, at least enough to operate the lifts anyways, before we head down with the boys into the command center itself. And inside the command center, where the Rangers hop on the computers to try to get things going and get the missiles set up, I open a nearby safe to unlock another achievement, Scrooge for saving over 1,000 military rounds, before we get some bad news. It turns out that we don't have enough power to launch any of these rockets, so Miller and I are going to have to go manually restart the reactor in the radiated lower levels of D6 that are covered in some kind of biomass. But with no other options, I have to reluctantly take another short lift ride down, where we're attacked by these amoebas coming out of these walls, like these ugly, strange, glowing orb things that unlock another achievement after I end up killing 5 of them, before taking another lift ride even deeper into hell to find the reactor. However, in the reactor room, the biomass that's on the floor is blocking the fuel rods from opening up all the way, so we get into the nearby crane and lift all the rods into place, despite this big nasty biomass trying to kill us by shooting acid at your face. And then meet up with Miller again and grab a laser missile targeting system that we'll need to place on top of a tall tower to guide the missiles to our intended target, the botanical gardens where the Dark Ones live. After the mission ends, we pick up almost exactly where the game started off, where we fight off the Watchmen and demons and climb the tower that's in front of us. But as we near the top of the tower, our demon bursts through the side of the wreckage, grabbing hold of Miller, and I manage to just barely save him, but he's badly injured and we have to continue to the top of the towers on our own, where the Dark Ones make one last desperate attempt to stop us and invade our mind. I am forced to run a confusing maze to stay away from them, as if they catch me, I die instantly, and I eventually stumble my way into this part of this vision where I find Hunter, our friend from the beginning of the game, who hands me a pistol and tells me his motto: if it's hostile, you kill it. So I take his advice and I turn towards the Dark One and fire 4 shots into it, destroying the vision and completing the game to unlock 2 more achievements. Now, with our first playthrough done, I decided it was time to go farm all the other achievements I could before doing my second playthrough on survival mode to unlock the other ending and the last 2 achievements, so let's just quickly go over them. First, I loaded up the Level Black station, where I just snuck through the first time around and I just reloaded the checkpoints, killing all the people I could to unlock Ninja for killing 30 enemies with throwing knives, and then Snake for stealthily killing 15 enemies. Then I followed that one up by laying the waste to everything in front of me with an AK to unlock Trigger Happy for killing 100 enemies with assault rifles, and then Slice and Dice for killing 30 enemies in close combat, Marksman for killing 15 human enemies with a headshot from at least 30 miles away. Kaboom for blowing up 30 enemies. Kaboom. Then I unlocked Airbender for killing 50 humans with pneumatic weapons. And then Weaponsmith for getting a kill with every single weapon in the game. And then there was this one that probably would have went better if I was doing it in a stealth-like fashion, but instead I decided to run up and try to punch everyone in the fucking face. Then I loaded up the level Frontline and I killed all the enemies I could possibly find in the level to unlock Hedgehopper. And with that done, that pretty much means all the kill-related or weapon-related achievements were taken care of, so I went back to help out some of the poor and sick in my home station to unlock the Generous achievement, before reloading back to the beginning of the game where the Nautilus attacked the station through the ventilation system and killed all of them before they could exit any of the vents to unlock Quick Draw. Then loading up the level Dead City where there's a safe at the very beginning of the level where I just kept reloading the checkpoint and unlocking safes until I reached the 15 total unlocks to unlock the Thief achievement. Before finally going and collecting the last 4 journals I missed on my initial playthrough, with the last one being in part of the D6 mission just before we head down to the reactor to unlock the Blogger achievement for finding all 51 notes for Artyom's diary. And with all those rapid fired and out of the way, that leaves me with just 2 achievements left to do, completing the game on survival mode and unlocking the good ending. Now for the good ending, or rather the enlightened ending, you have to get the majority of the morale points that are in the game during your playthrough from doing things like sharing bullets with the sick and the needy, listening to certain conversations, and even completing certain levels without killing anybody. And they're really not too painful to get, and before I knew it, I was back at the end of the game, but this time, after we shoot the Dark One in our vision, we come out of it with the pistol in our hand and a Dark One laying at our feet that's saying that they want peace. And honestly, so do I. So I shoot the laser targeter off the top of the tower and prevent the Dark Ones from being blown off the face of the planet to unlock the final achievement in the game and end our first journey through the metro. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, go check out my channel, maybe consider subscribing to it. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.